I'm Sally Mills from LaVolta, and welcome to Digital Bullets. We put together a series of questions about issues and developments within the digital sector. We've asked some senior people and industry experts to give us their point of view. We've also given them 20 seconds to answer the questions or they get the chop. Hope you enjoy. Digital is well represented at an industry level through the likes of AIMIA and IAB. What are the two key issues they should be focusing on addressing and why?
Well, there's many issues across the industry that those bodies are fundamental to helping address. You know, they are our evangelists, they're our champions, they're our advocates, and they play a very important role. So they have to continue to do that aggressively and boldly in Canberra, in other relevant circles. But I think this industry is still very nascent, and so a lot of it's about standardisation, about measurement, about value add, ROI, all those things which are critically important to our users out there. The industry has to continue to evolve, and those bodies play a very important part in that mix.
The two biggest would be the measurement side of things again, and the research side. Again, having good stories to tell, and some solid data to back them up. Still being a young industry, same problem in most countries, but we just still don't have as much compelling evidence as we should do to take out to the broader business community and sensibly explain to them why they should spend more dollars on digital.
I think that we need to educate people that online is safer than an awful lot of things they do in life. Most credit card fraud happens in restaurants where you give people physically your card. It doesn't happen online. So I'd say education is an absolutely critical thing, and I think it's starting to get decent broadband. We talk about it in Australia, and it's interesting. We are still an advanced digital country, even though we have poor broadband speeds, because nothing's going to stop us getting online. But just think about what we could do if we had decent speeds.
The last 2 years have been about bringing more money to digital and simultaneously about educating existing businesses into the values that exist within digital. There's a lot more work to be done there. Specific issues like net filtering, privacy and audience growth, I think will also be featuring very highly on the radar in the next couple of years.
I've been on the board of the IIA, Internet Industry Association, for the last 6 years, and some of the key issues that we're currently dealing with are filtering. Effectively, the government wants to filter our internet, and for anyone in the know, that's going to significantly slow down the internet, and I'm not sure if we actually want to become another China. And second of all is protection of copyrights, and there's a big tussle going on between the copyright holders as well as the ISPs out there.
An appropriate solution to our broadband issue, an appropriate approach to the clean feed issue, and appropriate levels of self-regulation within areas like, you know, privacy, anti-spam, mobile marketing, best practices, all of that sort of thing. Okay, so I think the industry actually has to start to play a more active role in the definition of the rules of engagement and what the industry needs to live. The last one that really stands out is some sort of idea around measurement. You know, and we may never get to a common measurement standard, but you know, it's getting a bit tiring having all this debate. So we need to either, you know, pick a couple and say this is why you use those, or come up with some perspective on how to, you know, view one thing over another.
On the IAB front, it represents the portals very well. It's got a hard-working CEO in there. In terms of the rest of the market, I don't think it does a very good job at all. So in terms of the industry, research is not covered well. It does well, but it's not covered well. And the long tail is not covered at all. So I think there's quite a bit of work to do for the IAB if they want to actually represent internet.
First of all, there's agreement on measurement methodology. So because there's so much more to measure in digital, I think there's probably more reasons to disagree, and all measurement methodologies are flawed. So the question or the opportunity is let's have more transparency so that we can agree and get closer to an answer. I think the other thing that we should focus on is giving voice to some of the smaller, the long end of the tail. The publishers are well represented in Australia. Let's let some of the other sides talk.
I think one of the things that those two bodies have been doing well is educating and actually devoting resources to educating the market, both from a consumer perspective, but more importantly, the professionals within it. But second to that, I think there's also a focus that's for the future on the infrastructure across Australia. We are in a position where we're very reliant upon the existing mobile carriers and the existing ISPs, and as traffic and usage increases, we're going to need to be able to support that growth.
The digital industry needs its own unique independent voice, and most of the people who own the digital industry at the moment also own some other media or some other company, right? They can be telcos, they can be publishers or whatever. And I think it's a struggle, therefore, for the industry to really come out and tell its own story really strongly. And I think however that happens with both the IAB and AIMIA and so on over the next few years, we need to get that independent voice out there that talks about digital as its own thing rather than as the stablemate of some other function that a company does, whether that's media or telecommunications or whatever.
The key issue I think facing the entire industry is the concept of government censorship of what we see and what we choose to see and what we choose not to see. One, it won't work, and two, it's just bad policy.
Digital is always, it's an ever-changing beast, and I think that also concerns a lot of agencies, that they have to keep abreast of all the technologies, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, iPhone applications, etc. All of these new technologies and way they can interact with customers become a contributor to a strategy, and those who don't keep abreast of it are going to get lost amongst that mess and probably lose great opportunities of interacting with their target market. And I think also culturally, mainstream agencies are different to digital agencies, and in some cases that can clash.
Measurement's the one that gets the highest profile, but really measurement is about making it easier to plan and buy online advertising. But I think that the industry body's job is one of bringing together a whole range of parties and then trying to get them all working collaboratively.